Hello, coin collectors and treasure hunters. Welcome back to UK Coin. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of Washington quarters and counting down the top 3 ultra-rare coins that every collector dreams of owning. Stay tuned for detailed history, rarity facts, and their jaw-dropping values. 1969 Washington Quarter. So here we have a 1969 Washington Quarter. This coin is part of the Washington Quarter series, which was first introduced in 1932 to honor the first U.S. President, George Washington. The design has remained largely unchanged over the years, except for some small tweaks. But what makes the 1969 version special? Well, let's take a closer look at its history and value. In 1969, the U.S. was experiencing a period of change, with major events such as the Apollo 11 moon landing and the Vietnam War making headlines. The 1969 quarter, like others in the series, was minted at 3 locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The design features George Washington on the obverse, with the familiar eagle and E pluribus unum inscription on the reverse. Ooh, let's talk about the specifications. The 1969 Washington Quarter has a diameter of 24.3 m and weighs 6.25 grams. It's made of 90% silver and 10% copper, which gives it a nice, solid feel. But as we move into the more recent years, quarters like these were produced primarily for circulation, so they're not made of the same silver content as earlier versions. Now, let's get into the value. The 1969 Washington Quarter typically isn't worth a lot over face value unless you have a coin in really great condition or one with a special mint mark. For a standard 1969 quarter in average circulated condition, you're looking at about 25 to 50 cents. If it's in uncirculated or proof condition, it could go for a little more, usually around $2 to $5. But here's the real kicker. If you come across a 1969 SID D or a 1969 D minted in Denver in perfect condition, or even a rare era coin, it could be worth significantly more, potentially reaching prices in the tens of dollars or more. As you see, the SID the coin is incomparably common. Some collectors go crazy for era coins. If you find a 1969 quarter with a double die, or a 1969 quarter with a double die or any noticeable minting flaw, it could definitely reach a definitely high price. For example, the 1969 double die era could fetch hundreds of dollars depending on the quality and rarity of the mistake. So, how do you know if your 1969 quarter is worth more than face value? First, check the mint mark. It will be right below George Washington's neck, and you'll either see a D for Denver, an S for San Francisco, or none at all if it's from Philadelphia. Also, look at the coin's condition. Coins in mint condition with little to no wear are the ones that can bring in more money. In conclusion, while the 1969 Washington Quarter isn't necessarily rare or valuable in average condition, there are definitely opportunities to find something special. Whether it's an era coin or a piece in perfect condition, it's always worth checking your change or coin collection to see what you might have. 1980 Washington Quarter. The 1980 Washington Quarter is part of the Washington Quarter series, which was introduced in 1932 to commemorate George Washington's 200th birthday. The coin's design has remained largely the same since then, with the iconic portrait of George Washington on the obverse, or front side. This portrait was created by sculptor John Flanagan, and it's one of the most recognizable coin designs in U.S. history. Above Washington's head, you'll see the word Liberty, and beneath the bust, there's the phrase "In God We Trust," which has been on U.S. coins since the 1860s. Of course, you'll also see the year 1980 on this side of the coin, marking when it was minted. Turning to the reverse, or back side, we see the image of an eagle in flight, which has been part of the Washington Quarter design since its inception. This eagle, designed by Frank Gasparo, is a symbol of strength and freedom, qualities that have been associated with the United States since its founding. Below the eagle, you'll find the words United States of America, E pluribus unum, and quarter dollar, indicating that this is indeed a 25-cent coin. Now, let's talk about the value of the 1980 Washington Quarter. As with most coins, the value can vary depending on its condition, mint mark, and any unique features it might have. The base value of the 1980 Washington Quarter is 25 cents, its face value. However, the the actual market value can be higher if the coin is in better condition or if it has specific characteristics that are of interest to collectors. In circulated condition, the 1980 quarter is generally worth its face value of 25 cents. Coins that have been used in circulation often show signs of wear, like scratches, fading, or dullness. In fine or very fine condition, where the coin still retains most of its details but shows some wear, it might be worth around 50 cents to $1. If the coin is uncirculated, meaning it has never been used in circulation and has been carefully preserved, it could be worth more, typically $5 or more, depending on its condition. Uncirculated coins usually have sharper details and a more lustrous finish, making them more valuable to collectors. Special types of 1980 quarters, such as those with mint errors, can also be worth more. Errors might include things like double strikes, off-center coins, or other unusual features. If you find an error on your 1980 quarter, it could potentially increase its value significantly. Another important factor when determining the value of the 1980 Washington quarter is its mint mark. The U.S. Mint produces coins at different facilities, and each location uses a distinct mint mark to indicate where a coin was struck. The 1980 Washington quarter was minted at 3 different U.S. Mint locations. Philadelphia. This mint didn't use a mint mark, so you'll find no letter on these coins. Denver. The coins produced here have a D mint mark. San Francisco. The San Francisco Mint produced proof coins, and these quarters have an S mint mark. Proof coins are specially made for collectors with a mirror-like finish and sharper details. These proof quarters are often more valuable than the regular circulation quarters. If you happen to find a 1980 CH proof quarter, it could be worth more than a standard circulation coin. Proof coins are struck using a special process which gives them a smooth, shiny surface and deeper, more detailed designs. These are often the coins collectors seek out for their collections. 1965 Washington Quarter. The 1965 Washington Quarter still features the familiar design that was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. On the obverse side of the coin, we see a portrait of George Washington, designed by John Flanagan. Washington's profile is surrounded by the word Liberty at the top, with "In God We Trust" inscribed beneath his portrait. On the reverse side, we see an eagle in flight, designed by Frank Gasparo. This eagle has its wings spread wide, symbolizing freedom and strength. Below the eagle are the words United States of America, U pluribus unum, and $quarter, indicating the coin's denomination and the motto of the United States. However, one key difference with the 1965 Washington quarter is its composition. Prior to 1965, U.S. quarters were made of 90% silver and 10% copper. But in 1965, due to the rising cost of silver, the U.S. Mint changed the composition of quarters. Starting in 1965, the Washington quarter was struck with a clad composition, a core of pure copper nickel. This was done to reduce costs and prevent further coin shortages. Now let's talk about the value of the 1965 Washington quarter. Since the 1965 quarter is made of a copper nickel clad composition rather than silver, its value is not driven by the precious metal content as much as other quarters. Here's a breakdown of the potential value based on condition and other factors. In circulated condition, most 1965 Washington quarters are worth face value, 25 cents. These coins have been in circulation and show signs of wear, such as scratches or fading. In uncirculated condition, a 1965 Washington quarter that has been kept in pristine condition and never used in circulation could be worth anywhere from $1 to $5 depending on its grade. Uncirculated coins often have sharp details and are free from wear. Proof coins. The U.S. Mint also issued proof sets during this time, including proof 1965 Washington quarters. These coins were specially made for collectors and have a shiny mirror-like finish. A proof 1965 Washington quarter can be worth $10 to $20 or more, depending on its condition or rarity. The 1965 Washington quarter is not particularly rare, but its historical significance, particularly due to the shift in metal composition, can make it more valuable to certain collectors. The 1965 Washington quarter was minted in 3 locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. However, there's an interesting thing to note. 1965 quarters from Philadelphia did not have a mint mark. Quarters from Denver have a D mint mark, and those from San Francisco have an S mint mark. Despite the mint marks, the 1965 quarter is considered a relatively common coin, and you're not likely to find one with significant premium value unless it's in uncirculated or proof condition, or there are unusual mint errors. To understand the significance of the 1965 Washington quarter, it's important to know the historical context in which it was created. The 1960s saw rising inflation and a growing cost of silver. In 1965, after much debate, the US government decided to remove silver from most of the country's coinage to reduce production costs. This led to the creation of the 1965 clad coinage. Quarters, dimes, and half dollars were all struck using a copper-nickel clad composition instead of pure silver. This move made coins less costly to produce, but it also marked the end of silver coinage in everyday circulation. The change in composition was so significant that the 1965 quarter is sometimes seen as a transitional coin. The decision to move away from silver altered the appearance, weight, and value of US coins, and for collectors, this makes the 1965 quarter an interesting piece of history, even though it doesn't have the precious metal value of earlier quarters. Next, here we have the 1954 Deed Lincoln Wheat Penny, one of the last years of the iconic wheat design before it was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design in 1959. And this particular penny was minted in Denver, as indicated by the D mint mark on the reverse side. The reverse design features 2 wheat stalks, framing the words 1 cent. These wheat stalks were part of the original design by engraver Victor David Brenner, symbolizing America's agricultural roots. And of course, the obverse displays President Abraham Lincoln, designed by the same engraver. Now, let's talk numbers. The 1954 D. Lincoln Wheat Penny was minted in large quantities, with over 1.1 billion pennies produced at the Denver Mint that year. That makes it a common coin today, but it's still one to keep an eye out for, especially in higher grades. Because of its high mintage, most 1954 D pennies are fairly easy to find, and in terms of rarity, it doesn't stand out as much as some of the other key dates in the Lincoln Wheat series. However, there are still certain conditions that can dramatically affect its value. Point collectors know that condition is everything. The value of a 1954 D penny can vary significantly depending on its grade. Let's break it down. In low grades, such as good or very good VG8, you're looking at a value of about 5 to 10 cents. These are coins that have been in circulation for decades, showing signs of wear. As the grade increases to fine or very fine VF20, the value can rise to around 10 to 20 cents. These coins still show some wear, but the details of Lincoln's portrait and the wheat stalks are more visible. Now, if you have a 1954 D penny in excellent condition, such as about uncirculated AU50 or even mint state, MS60 and higher, you could see values between $1 to $5 and sometimes even higher depending on how pristine the coin is. Uncirculated coins, especially those in higher grades like MS65, can fetch up to $20 or more. So if you find one of these in your collection, you might have a nice little surprise. Now, what about rare variations or errors? Well, the 1954 D doesn't have many famous errors, but it's always worth checking for common mistakes like off-center strikes or doubling. These could make your penny more valuable if the error is significant enough. While the 1954 D isn't known for major error varieties, a noticeable double die could still fetch a premium. Keep your eyes peeled. Next, the Lincoln Wheat Penny, or just Wheat Penny, as many collectors call it, was produced by the United States Mint from 1909 to 1958. It features the iconic portrait of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, designed by Victor David Brenner. On the reverse side, you'll find 2 wheat stalks framing the words 1 cent, hence the name Wheat Penny. Now, let's focus on the 1954 S. The S mint mark indicates that this penny was minted in San Francisco, and it's one of the last years in the wheat series. But what makes the 1954 S special? Let's take a closer look. The 1954 Lincoln Wheat Penny had a mintage of approximately 93.7 million coins. Now, while this is quite a high mintage compared to other key dates in the series, the 1954 Slinken Wheat Penny is still a popular coin among collectors because of its place in the transition between the classic wheat design and the later memorial design. Since the 1954 S is not as rare as other key dates like the 1909 SVDB or the 1914 D, it's still relatively affordable for most collectors. But its value can vary based on condition, rarity in higher grades, and market demand. Speaking of value, let's talk about the 1954's worth. Coin values are determined by several factors, most importantly the coin's grade or condition. Here's a breakdown of the approximate values based on the grade. A 1954 S in good condition might be worth around 25 cents to 50 cents. Fine. In fine condition, it could range from 50 cents to $1. Very fine. A coin in very fine condition might fetch between $1 to $2. In extremely fine condition, the value can go up to $3 to $5. Now, here's where things get exciting. A 1954 S in uncirculated condition could be worth anywhere from $10 to $50 or more, depending on the quality and market demand. As with all coins, finding a 1954 S in exceptional condition, especially in M65 or higher, can significantly increase its value. So, always check for key details like the sharpness of the wheat lines and the overall wear on Lincoln's portrait. Let's take a step back and talk about the historical context of the 1954 Silken Wheat Penny. At the 1950s, the wheat penny was nearing its end, as the US Mint had already begun testing out new designs for the cent, which would later become the memorial cent in 1959. The 1954 S, along with other late-series wheat pennies, was minted in a time of post-war economic growth. The country was booming, and the demand for everyday currency like the penny was strong. However, the coin would soon be replaced, making the wheat design a nostalgic and historic piece for collectors today. Here's a fun fact. The 1954 S is also known for being one of the years with a notable number of die varieties, so it's a great year for variety hunters. Keep an eye out for any repunched mint marks or unique die cracks on your 1954's penny. Those can add value to the coin. Now that you know the history and value, how do you find a 1954's Lincoln Wheat Penny for your collection? You can start by checking through rolls of pennies from the 1950s, especially if you're looking for coins in high-grade condition. Estate sales, coin shops, and online auctions are also great places to hunt for this classic coin. Next, minted in 1955 at the Denver Mint, the D on the coin signifies its origin. As with all Lincoln Wheat Pennies, it's made of 95% copper with a weight of 3.11 grams and a diameter of 19 min. Now, let's step back in time for a moment. The Lincoln Wheat Penny was first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. But in 1955, it was just another year for the series, and the 1955 D became a part of the regular production at the Denver Mint. Now, let's talk about value. If you're looking to buy or sell a 1955 D Lincoln Wheat Penny, its worth can vary depending on a few factors, like condition and whether or not it's been preserved well over the years. In good condition, you might expect to pay around 15 cents to 30 cents for a 1955 D penny, but, as with all coins, the value can skyrocket depending on the grade. A coin in mint state, especially one with no visible wear and a strong strike, can be worth anywhere from $1 to $5 or more. For those of you unfamiliar with coin grading, here's a quick rundown. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being perfect. A coin in higher grades, like MS65 or above, can be valued much higher, and if your 1955 D penny is in excellent condition, it could fetch a pretty penny at auction. Speaking of value, did you know that there's something extra special about the 1955 D Lincoln Wheat Penny? That's right. The 1955 DDO, or double die obverse, is one of the most famous varieties of this coin. The double die obverse is a result of a minting error where the die used to strike the coin was misaligned, causing a double image on the obverse of the penny. This can often be seen clearly in the "Liberty and in God we trust" inscriptions, where the letters appear doubled. If you find a 1955 DDDO, it's a coin worth holding onto. Depending on its condition, a 1955 D double die obverse penny can be worth anywhere from $100 to over $1,000. Some of the highest grade examples have even sold for tens of thousands of dollars at auction. So, how do you spot a 1955 D double die obverse? You'll need a good magnifying glass or a loupe. Look carefully at the lettering and the date. If the images appear blurry or doubled, you've found a rare and valuable variety. Next, the 1955's Lincoln Wheat Penny is part of the famous Wheat Cent series that was minted from 1909 to 1958. The S on the coin stands for the San Francisco Mint, where this particular penny was struck. The coin features the familiar design, Abraham Lincoln, on the obverse, designed by Victor David Brenner, and two wheat stalks on the reverse, symbolizing America's agricultural roots. This penny is composed of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, and its diameter measures 19 mm, making it about the size of a standard modern penny. Now, let's take a trip back in time to the year 1955. The US economy was on the rise following World War II, and the demand for coins was high. However, the 1955's penny stands out due to its relatively low mintage. Only about 60 million 1955's pennies were struck, which is far fewer than some of the other pennies from that era, making it more sought after by collectors. Despite its lower mintage, the 1955's wheat penny isn't considered a super rare coin, but it holds significant value to collectors, especially in higher grades. Let's talk about the features and what makes this penny unique. As with all Lincoln Wheat pennies, the 1955 S has the iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the front, along with the inscription Liberty and the year 1955. On the reverse, you'll find the wheat stalks, along with the words E pluribus unum and 1 cent. One important note: the 1955 S penny is sometimes confused with a famous error coin, the 1955 double die penny. While the 1955 double die is a rare and valuable find, the 1955 S doesn't have this double die feature. Still, it's an important coin in its own right. So, how much is a 1955's Lincoln Wheat penny worth? Well, it depends on the coin's condition. In general, a 1955's penny in good condition could be worth around 10 to 15 cents. If it's in fine condition, it could be worth about 25 to 50 cents. Coins in mint state or uncirculated condition, where the coin looks almost brand new, can fetch significantly higher prices, up to $3 to $5 or more, depending on the quality. The highest prices are typically for coins graded MS65 or higher, with some going for $15 or more at auctions or from private dealers. If you're a collector, this penny might be a great addition to your set. While not the rarest wheat penny out there, the 1955C offers a nice balance of history and scarcity, making it valuable to collectors of all experience levels. Always be sure to check the condition of your coin, and, if you have one in great shape, consider getting it graded by a professional for the best possible value. So there you have it, folks. Everything you need to know about the 1955 Lincoln Wheat penny. Whether you're new to coin collecting or a seasoned pro, this coin is a classic piece of American history with an interesting story behind it. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell for more coin value and history content. Until next time, happy collecting!